Hello, Scotland. Welcome back to Proud to be Irish, and I am here today to tell you guys tips if you're planning to travel to Germany. So, I'm an Irishman myself, if you haven't guessed already. Ginger hair and all that shit. So, I'm living here in Germany for about 4 years. And I picked up a few tips that could help you guys if you plan to come to Germany, whether it's to live or just on a holiday. It's one of the best holiday places you can go. I can vouch for that. There's so much that you can do here. So I'm just going to get stuck into the video now, and we'll start with the first one. So if you're planning to travel, like actually travel around Germany, then one of the things you should know is about the transport. Now there's an app called DB app, Deutsche Bahn app, and this will give you from point A to B how far it is, how long it is to travel, the prices, the different categories, all that stuff. And also we have different trains here, for example ICE, which is the bullet trains, and then we've got the ORB, which is the regional trains. Carry money, alright? Always carry money. Not like a major amount, like €1,000 or something, but carry about 100, 200, 300 euro, as not many people here in Germany pay with card. I mean, they're kind of behind in that, you know. It is especially uncommon to pay with credit cards, so definitely carry some cash on you, because most places you pay with cash. Right, so I've been on YouTube a couple of times, and this to me makes no sense, right? Because I'm an Irishman myself, and so many people complain about the water in Germany. To me, it's the cleanest water you'll ever come across, right? Because in Ireland we have so much lime. Doesn't matter if you're in the city, we have so much lime and the kettle is full. In Germany, especially in the cities, they've got feck all lime. If you go to the country, of course you're going to get lime there. But there's one girl on YouTube that says that she gets such a bad reaction because the water is full of lime. I don't know what she's on about. It's the cleanest water you can get, to me anyway. From November to March, if I were you, I would wrap up like a mummy, as it is so cold here during the winter. There's snow in March. Most of the time there's not really snow in December, although most people would want it to be. So if I were you, I would wrap up and have no exposed skin, because, for example, the beginning of March, end of February, we were getting -14, -20. It was so cold, and most of the days from end of February to beginning of March, it was always below zero. So if I were you guys, I would definitely wrap up. And I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. You know, I just go by degrees. If you're interested, look it up yourselves. Then, if you're also traveling, I would, it depends. If you're going to travel with the bus, the cheapest bus that there is Flixbus. It's for the long distance traveling, right? Flixbus, you could pay €5 and you could travel from, say, let's say from Bonn to Frankfurt, or you could travel from Dortmund to, I don't know, 5-6 hours away. And there's cases where you could spend €10 and travel from Frankfurt to Amsterdam, Netherlands to Cologne. So it depends on the day, depends on how many people are booking, but definitely check out Flixbus if you do not mind traveling for a long period of time. You could even travel that way if you wanted to sleep from going from one destination to another, if you didn't want to pay, say, €50 for a hotel room. And they do take a couple of stops for those who smoke or need to go to the toilet or want to get some food, so there's no hassle in that at all. another thing, in Ireland we jaywalk. We jaywalk like there's no tomorrow. But in Germany, make sure you do not jaywalk. It's highly illegal. And another thing, in Germany, a lot of people cycle, right? They cycle from work to home, gym to home, friends to home. It's just bikes, 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 especially during the summer. And there's so many bikes out there, and they have their own lanes, their own bike lanes. If you are walking, please do not walk on a bike lane. They will curse you out of it, they will ring the bell, they will run you over, because they are so particular about bike lanes are for bikes. So if I were you, I'd steer clear of them. And also about locking up your bike, alright? There's so many occasions that people have gotten their bikes nicked because they've left them locked to a pole or to a parking spot for bikes, and they've been there for about 3 days to a week and they're gone. Because in Germany, if your bike is left too long, a lot of people will steal them and sell them on. I left the bike in town myself for about 3 days, and when I came back to it, I seen that they took the rubber off the bottom of the stand. And the trick to that is they were tagging them to see who has come back and who hasn't, and whether they could take the bike or not. So be very careful if you decide to cycle around wherever you're staying, alright? So if you're planning to cheer someone, always keep eye contact, because it's a sign of good manners to the Germans. And also, if you don't and you're like, cheers, it's bad luck. So always look them in the eye when you're cheersing them, and what they say is Prost. So, Prost. If you're out in town and you meet anyone formal or very respectful, like whether it's a police officer or an elderly person or a doctor, someone who, to categorize it, if they have a respectable position, you know what I mean, high authority, always greet them in a formal sense, okay? And the best way to do it if you're speaking German is always say Sie. Sie. That is the most formal that you can say in German. So if you're staying for a couple of days, like maybe 3 days, I mean, if you wanted to eat out, it is very cheap to eat out, a lot cheaper than most places. You could easily get a decent meal and a drink for like 14-15 euro. You could even get it cheaper for those of you who aren't ordering freaking really expensive, out of this country type of food, you know what I mean? If you're not ordering veal or steak every night, very easy to eat cheaply out. But if you're planning to stay for about a week or longer, then if I were you, I would save your money and go to the shops, because food is so cheap. You could go and get 500 grams of chicken for $2.50, or even in the butchers you get special offer meat. For example, you could get 500 grams of chicken for $1.79, or you get pork for 700 grams for €3. It's very cheap, so keep that in your mind. And also, speaking of shops, if you plan on drinking, do not go to a pub if you don't want to spend so much money, because it's the same price everywhere, to be honest. If you want, you can go to the shops and buy beer, because most beer is under €1, like for the good brand beer, it's like 79 cents. You can drink on the street, it's not illegal, but you have to be very careful, no matter if you're getting a soft drink or if you're getting alcohol, beer wise. Be very careful, because the way the government works is they add extra tax on top of it as a deposit. So for example, if you're getting a can or a plastic bottle, they add 25 cents deposit onto it, and you get it back if you bring it back to the shop. But with the glass bottles, it's normally 8 cents for the beers. So just be very careful of that. A lot of tourists throw out the bottles, and you know, that's how most of the homeless people get the money, is they go around searching for bins, see if anyone throws out that kind of stuff. So if you're planning on trying traditional German foods, without a doubt, try schnitzel. There's 9 different types of schnitzel, going from chicken to pork to veal to different spices, peppers, sauces. It's just, there's one thing you have to try is any type of schnitzel. And staying on food, there's one food, or 2 foods actually you have to try. One is currywurst. What currywurst is, it's basically chips and sausages in a curry kind of sauce. It's not the normal curry you're used to. It'd be more like a browner, kind of more peppery kind of curry sauce. What they do is you get in a little tray and they chop up the sausages, put it on one side, have the chips and then cover it with it, and then they have extra powder they put on it for curry. And then they have doner kebabs here, and they're like nothing else you'll ever try of a kebab anywhere else in the world. And personally, it's like a hit or miss, you know. You could go to a dive place and it's absolutely amazing food, and you go to a really nice doner place and the food could taste absolutely shite. So be careful about which place you choose. Always ask people about recommendations, because so many people eat doners here. If you like coffee, Germany's the place for you, as everyone drinks coffee. They have coffee for breakfast, lunch, dinner, tea, cake, birthdays, weddings, whatever the hell. And it's just very hard to find a German person who does not drink coffee. So if you like coffee, Germany's the place. Really amazing coffee, the best coffee I've ever tried. It was in Germany. So no matter where you're going, there's 4 main shops in Germany. There's Edeka, Riva, Penny and Netto. So Edeka is the more expensive supermarket that there is, but they have really good brands, and the butchers is absolutely lovely, and they always have good special offers on meat. And then the off brand of that would be a discounter shop, would be Netto, and it's super cheap. Then we move to Riva. It's the second most expensive supermarket, but also has really good stuff and always has good special offers. And then the discounter of that would be Penny. There's not too many Pennies, but there's lots and lots of Nettos all around the place if you're a discounter person. Also, if you like discounting shops, there's a shop called Teddy, where it's basically a Euro shop. I mean, it ranges from office supplies to kitchen supplies or gardening stuff, and everything is super cheap, like ranging from €1 to €5, depending on how big it is or the material. But it is a really cheap Euro shop or dollar shop, whatever you want to call it. If you're traveling, then we have the buses, and you can get very cheap tickets for the buses. Like if you were traveling, say, from just outside the city into the city or around the city, you could get a ticket for like €2.80 if you're an adult, or €1.90 if you're a kid. And you can also get daily tickets for like, it depends. I mean, you get 4 ticket for like €12 that you stamp every time you use the transport, or you could get a daily ticket for like €24 and you can take up to 5 people on it. And then trains, it always depends where you're going. For example, if you're traveling from Cologne to Dortmund, it would probably cost about €24 just one way, like. So it depends on the times and the trains that you're actually taking. And the frequency of the buses normally is during the week every 10 minutes for buses, and during the weekend every 15 minutes. And then at night time, from say after 8 o'clock, it's always every 15 minutes. And there's night buses going from after 12 o'clock until like 3 in the morning, which goes every hour. Trains go mainly every hour, on the hour basically. So let's talk about the German routine, work ethics and punctuality, right? I'm Irish, so if I say to someone, I'll meet you at 9:30, which means I'll probably be there either 9 or 10, because there's always that half an hour gap. Like, we are not very punctual people. But the Germans, if you say to a German, I'll meet you at 9:30, you best believe that they'll be there at that spot at 9:25. It'll always be early. And another thing, if you say to someone, I'll meet you at 9:30 or 9:30, be careful, because sometimes the Germans would think it would be 8:30, because it's always an hour behind. It's the way they do their times. The Germans are really, really work orientated. So they would work and work and work, and basically they would leave their partying life till the weekend, and they party like there's no tomorrow. They know how to put the drink away. Speaking of drinking, they have a holiday called Carnival. I still don't understand the holiday myself, but basically what it is, it's like 6 months of just drinking and drinking and drinking, and that's what they save up basically all the whole year that it's not on. And basically they dress up in all these different costumes, and they drink when they can drink, and boy can the Germans drink. So it goes on from November till about February. So on the weekends around that time, it's always crowded on the streets, because since you're allowed to drink on the streets, it's always crowded, and especially places like nightclubs will be pretty full as well. If you decide to try German alcohol, you should try Pils, Weizen, but I know if you want to try it, try Kolsch, but to me, it's the drink what most Germans would call piss water. But if you want to try the Pils, for me the best Pils would be, what's the name of it? Bitburger or Jever. And then if you wanted to try Weizen, there's so many different Weizens. I'm not a fan of it myself, but everyone goes for the normal Weizen, because you can always get Cristal, which is kind of like a lemony kind of one, or a dark one. But Pils would be my favourite German beer. And if you like stout, the Germans make great stout as well. It won't be as good as Guinness, but it's a close second. And I much prefer the German stout than what you call it, Beamish or Murphy's. So if you're a native English speaker, or you don't speak German but you can speak English, then just please be polite. I've witnessed this firsthand. If you're going up to a German person, please just ask first if they can speak English, because it's just, not only is it polite, but it's just common decency, you know what I mean? I've seen people just automatically speak to Germans in English and expect that they know how to speak English. Okay, fair enough, most Germans get taught English in school, but how would you like if someone comes up to you in, say, England, Ireland, America, just come up to you and start speaking French, expecting you to know French? Would you reply to them in French? I don't think so. What if you're from Japan and someone comes up to you? Would you expect them to speak your language? You know, it's just common decency. And I hate when people do that here. It's just so impolite. So if you want to go to a very, how would you say, international city, Bonn and Cologne would be very, very international. There's so many people from around the world, as Cologne and Bonn have very, very, very international colleges, universities, schools, international programs. So there's people from all around the world in Bonn and Cologne. So if that's what you're up for, Bonn and Cologne is the place for you. If you like to sightsee and you want to see the German style buildings, go to the country. Don't go to the city, go to the countries, especially down the south. the style of houses is completely different, and it's just definitely a sight you won't regret if you see it. And they have so many churches and castles. I've never seen churches or castles like that anywhere else in around the world, to be honest. Even in Ireland or England or Scotland, Wales, they don't have the kind of castles or churches that they have here. So there's definitely something that you could do if you want to travel here. Speaking of churches, Cologne has the world's second biggest twin spiral tower cathedral in Europe. It stands at 515 feet tall, which is 157 meters tall. That's crazy. I mean, it doesn't do justice just math. You have to see it in person. You have to stand there. It's right at the main Cologne train station. You walk out the door, it's right there. And you're just looking up at it, and it's such an amazing sight to see. So that has definitely got to be number one on your priority if you decide to go to Cologne. Never mind the drinking atmosphere. Never mind the whole culture. Go to the cathedral. It's right there. It's free to go in, and you can have mass there. And the 3 wise kings are buried there as well. So if that's not something to see, I don't know what is. And last but not least, the Germans are fanatics for football. If you like the Premier League, kick it out the window. Never watch it again. The Bundesliga is the football you want to watch. I mean, okay, you'll get it everywhere that footballers get a little flick and they're on the ground. You'll get that everywhere. But the skill of football in Bundesliga is way more superior than English Premier League. There's hands down better players, better style of football, better teams, and the fans of the Bundesliga are way more full-hearted into the teams, have more spirit, and the atmosphere is better. Think of rivalry between, let's say, Liverpool and Manchester United. The rivalry here is definitely way, way bigger. So, Bundesliga, better football than the Premier League. If you haven't watched the Bundesliga, definitely do it. Do it, do it. You will not regret it, because that's the only football that I watch. I would never watch the English Premier League. I haven't watched it in about 6 years. It's just the Bundesliga. I have no interest in it. So anyway, thanks a million for watching these tips for Germany if you're planning to travel. So if you like it, drop a like, subscribe, and I'll have a lot more videos like this coming out soon. Thanks a million for watching, and sláinte.